Welcome back, everyone. I'm Lynn Doyle, and you're watching It's Your Call, where today we're talking with a couple of the members of the U.S. women's soccer team. They're also members of the Philadelphia Independents, which, as you know, is part of the Women's Professional Soccer League. We've given you an opportunity to ask them some questions or to share some opinions of yours with them. So if you want to join in, you can email me right now at lynn@lynndoyle.net, or you can also find me on Facebook, and we'll respond to some of your thoughts. Let me share a few things that have been said or written, and then we'll find out what Lori and Nicole have to say. Stephanie's written us, and she says, quote, "How about a huge congrats for doing as well as they did, and a thank you for putting in the work required to get there." And Debbie wants to know, quote, "Win or lose, they played hard and deserve the pride of our country for a job well done. My whole family was riveted to the TV screen for every game. Women's soccer has come a long way, baby." And finally, Michael has this to say, quote, "The team and the games were all exciting. They kept us watching them all. It's great to see the teamwork, the enthusiasm, and the fact that they are great, skilled athletes. They deserve our congratulations." Well, that's not a bad start. I thought maybe we might have some controversy there, but what do you think about that? What do you say?
Well, I think that's exactly what the team showed in Germany. You know, it wasn't necessarily at the end of the day, yeah, we did end up losing to Japan, but I think it was more about how we won, and we won as a team, and we fought to the end. And like we were talking about earlier, how we won against Brazil. You know, it was like the last 30 seconds of the game pretty much, but we kept fighting. And I think that's what captured a lot of the support and stuff, is, like I said, is how we won.
There was some controversy immediately following the game, a lot of bloggers and some tweets going on and everything about the fact that the press seemed to treat you all in a different fashion than perhaps they may have treated a similar men's loss. What did you say to that?
I think people fell in love with us because of, you know, the grit we have in the fight, and just our competitive nature that we showed throughout the tournament, especially in the Brazil game and the late win. And, you know, this is kind of the boost that women's soccer needed to get people to follow us, to know that, you know, we're out there, to know that there's a women's league out there. And, you know, it's been tremendous to see the support coming in behind that. And, you know, win or lose, we gave it our all, and, you know, it just wasn't our day that day.
The question that comes from Howard on Facebook is, do they feel patronized by the media and the fans because they did not receive the bashing a men's team would have received if it had lost in the finals, especially the way they lost?
Well, no, I don't think so, because I think if you look back to the 2010 World Cup, the country rallied around our men's team when they beat Algeria to advance out of group play, you know. So I think, and then they ended up losing the next game. But I mean, it was a successful World Cup for our men's team, and I think the support, and we all rallied around them, you know. So I think it's the same thing. I think, like Nicole said, is that people fell in love with us for how we play and like the fight and determination we have, you know. And so I think I was very pleased with actually the warm welcoming we got and all the support we had back here. Another question from Facebook is, do you believe that there is a huge double standard when it comes to men and women's sports at this professional level?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you say to that? Yeah. I mean, they're two very different, you know, entities almost, and we go out and play. I think they're two very different games in general, just the way, the style. Yeah, I think the women's side, it's very technical, whereas the men, it's a lot more athletic ability. So I don't know if you can really compare them on that scale in that regards either. Okay, well, those are some of the comments that we've gotten so far on our Facebook page. We will be checking in periodically throughout the show to see if you have other questions that you'd like to ask. Of course, if you'd like to email me, it's lynn@lynndoyle.net, and I have questions as well. And I love the fact that women's sports, you know, it's all these years past Title IX in 1972 that was passed, and women's sports seem to go highs and lows, and the fact that now we're back up on a high is really good, because I think for young women it's always great to have role models. We talked a little bit about being a role model. Who were your role models when you were coming up through the system to get to where you are now?
Well, I think some of the older players like Mia Hamm and stuff, and I think they helped pave the way to give us kind of the life we have now, with being able to be paid to play and play soccer. So, but you know, besides the soccer players, I mean, my family was role models for me and stuff. But yeah, I would say like a Mia Hamm, Julie Foudy's, like those type of players that came before us that really helped create the standard. And now, you know, they're retired, and so now we're really trying to pave the way for ourselves, you know. And I think that was exciting for us too, because there was so much talk during this World Cup about 1999 when we won in the Rose Bowl and that and stuff, and that was huge, a huge success for women's soccer and women's sports in general.
Did it put a lot of pressure on you all, though, to try to emulate or repeat that success with that '99 team?
I don't know if I'd say pressure. I mean, our kind of goal these past couple of years has been to kind of build our own identity, to build off of what they've done for the sport and for our team, and to move into, you know, this generation in the future with our own identities and get people to recognize our names and to help the sport grow in that way. So, I mean, yes and no, but also going back to the role models, you know, I definitely grew up watching the team, following the team, especially around the '99 World Cup. You know, I like the Mia Hamms, the Christine Lillys, the Brianna Scurrys. You know, getting to play with them over the past couple of years has been awesome. You know, you grow up watching them, and all of a sudden you're training next to them on a daily basis. So it's a pretty remarkable experience. And
it has to be surreal at some point
when
you look over and you say, "This is how I'm making my living now. I'm playing a game that I've loved, obviously, from the time that you were young girls, and this is what you're doing now as your job and your career and your life." I mean, it must just seem surreal at times.
I mean, we just got back from the World Cup, and then we get to come back here to Philly and play in a professional league, you know? And so, I mean, you can't really ask for anything better than that. I mean,
your family's very supportive when you were younger. I bet you guys were all travel teams.
I think my parents were like, "You will make it to the World Cup." I was like, "Okay."
Well, that's just it. You know, how many parents think that they're raising the next World Cup soccer players?
My dad,
you know?
He was like, "You will make." I'm like, "Okay, I better." Really let him down if I don't. But
so he really believed in you. I mean, did you show that much promise as a young girl, or was your dad just over enthusiastic?
Yeah, he was just over enthusiastic, and it was like, "I want you to be good." So I don't know if I really showed that much promise. So
well, he must have seen something.
Yeah.
And how about you? Were you one of those soccer rats when you were a kid?
Oh, I don't think my parents quite knew what they were getting into when they agreed to let me play soccer when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I eventually turned into a very, very timely commitment for them, especially having 2 other siblings. But I mean, they were tremendous. They still are. They're out every game they can get to. If they can't watch it live, they watch it on TV or follow it on Match Trackers. So they've been very supportive. My whole family.
Oh, that's great to hear. Well, listen, the whole country is supportive. Everybody's been very interested in hearing from you. So we're going to take some more questions and comments. But first, we're going to take a quick break. If you'd like to join in, tell us what you thought about that 2011 World Cup experience for the women's national team. Go ahead and email me during the break at lynn@lynndoyle.net. You can also find us right now on Facebook and tell us what you think there. We'll be right back.